Hey everybody, welcome to the channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some horror films that I think you should check out this holiday season. Let's go ahead and dive right into the list. These first three are technically not Christmas horror films, but I wanted to include them on the list anyway. The first one is John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, I'll talk about this more in depth one day on the channel. I love this movie. I think it's one of the greatest horror films of all time. And the reason I wanted to include it on the list is I can watch it any time of the year. It's one of those, horror films that, there's certain ones like the Leprechaun movies that I wait till, St. Patrick's Day. But this movie, I can watch it any time. But whenever you're watching it, it has such a good, atmosphere. The oscillation feeling is unmatched, in my opinion. But when you're watching it, and you also have snow on the ground when you look outside, you kind of even feel more for those characters because you're kind of putting yourself in that position. Even though you're not stranded, it just adds an extra element in my opinion. So I love watching it any time of the year, but especially around this time of the year. I'll kill you! So the next film on the list is going to be Dead Snow. Now, I can't remember if this has any holiday elements in the movie. I don't think it does, but I could be completely wrong. It's been a few years since I've actually watched this movie. But I used to be, which I still am, a gamer. But I remember growing up playing Call of Duty, zombies. And to actually see Nazi zombies on the screen, I thought was really cool. And I was a little bit younger when I watched this. And typically I didn't like, films that I had to read the subtitles. But I actually really enjoyed this one. And I think it would be appropriate to watch it around this time of year. The next movie on the list is going to be Frozen.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Not that one. This one. Now, I don't want to get too in depth about this movie because it's very simple. I don't want to ruin too much, but it's pretty realistic in the situation that the characters find themselves in. And I find that frightening because it could happen to anyone. Just terrible luck. They've got the weather against them. They got the situation that they're in. If they try to escape, they're going to, be badly hurt. And, you never know what's waiting out there in the woods. So a very effective horror film, very simple. You're not going to leave this horror film, mind blown or anything like that. But it's a pretty good one, and I think the atmosphere, the setting, and obviously it has snow on the ground. It's wintertime. I think it all makes for a very good watch this December. The next one on the list is going to be Gremlins. Now, I've not seen this movie, a bunch of times, but I did watch it a few years ago with Jeremy and Jordan. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a very fun time and actually caught a little bit of it last October whenever I went to the drive-in to watch Hocus Pocus, and I was like, wow, I forgot how good this movie was. So I definitely recommend Gremlins. It's one that you can kind of watch with the whole family. It's not really a very, over-the-top violent horror film. So, Gremlins. The next movie is going to be Santa's Sleigh. Now, I really enjoy this one. It's not going to be for everybody. The comedy in this one is hit and miss with a lot of people. And I completely understand, but for me, I really enjoy this one. I think it's over the top, goofy, very stupid, but in such a fun way that I can't help but laugh and enjoy it. So, yeah, you got Bill Goldberg playing Santa, which is a very different take on the character. And, oh man, he kills it in this movie. Not like amazingly acted, but just how brutal the character is. And I love when he spears that guy through the glass. There's a lot here that I think a lot of people will like and a lot of people will hate. Just watch the first couple minutes of the movie, and if you don't like it, then you will not like the rest of the movie. It does have a pretty good opening with a bunch of notable actors, so Santa's Sleigh. The next movie is going to be Krampus. Now, I remember watching this when it first came out, and I actually really enjoyed it. I think it came out, 2015? Time literally flies. But I've not watched it in probably that amount of time. Yeah, I've probably not watched it since it came out. So it's time for a rewatch. But the problems I had with it, I really did like it. But the problems I had was that I felt it could be a little bit more violent at times. I felt like, some things were probably cut. And yeah, they were. Because we're getting a naughty cut, which I can't wait to get in the mail. I pre-ordered that, so stay tuned for an unboxing of that. But just for this movie, I thought it was very good, very creative. And I'm pretty sure it was directed by the same person that directed Trick or Treat, which I love that movie. So I really like Krampus. I think it's very creative and definitely has a great atmosphere and definitely is worth a watch during the holiday season. The next one is going to be Deadly Games, or Dial Code Santa. Now, this is one I watched with Jordan, and we have a blast watching this movie. It's kind of like, maybe not an annual thing, but if not every year, every other year we watch this movie, and it has some very, very meme-worthy things in the movie, but it is actually a very fun movie, and I really enjoy it. The guy who plays the Killer Santa is, the character is very brutal. He does not give two fucks about anybody in the movie, even animals, which is very sad. When me and Jordan first watched that, I was blown away by how violent this guy is. You got the kid who is kind of like a mix between, it's kind of like a adult version of Home Alone, a rated R version of Home Alone, if you will. And the kid is kind of a mix of Kevin McAllister and Rambo with his appearance. And it's very cool to see him just go around this huge house, you know, placing traps, outsmarting the Killer Santa. And yeah, it's a very fun movie. I won't go too in depth, I don't want to spoil it, but definitely check out Deadly Games. It's a very good one.
Very nice.
This next movie is a controversial one because it got a lot of backlash when it first came out, and that is Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's about a kid named Billy who actually sees his parents get murdered by Santa Claus, and yeah, he pretty much has PTSD from it. During the holiday season, something happens, and he just snaps, and he goes around killing people dressed as Santa. It's a very fun movie, and honestly, if you're looking for a Christmas horror film, and you've not watched this one should be at least in your top 3. The next movie is going to be A Christmas Horror Story. This is a very fun horror anthology, and I love when anthology movies, all the stories told within, you know, the film, all connect at the end, and this one does that in a very unique way. I think it's a very fun and enjoyable watch. There may be some killer elves, and maybe even an elf that doesn't want a fucking cookie in the movie. So I highly recommend you check out A Christmas Horror Story. The final film is going to be Black Christmas from the year 1974. I love this movie. The atmosphere is oozing throughout the movie. It has such a cold and bleak feel. The POV shots, the ending really stuck with me. The obscene phone calls really unsettled me the first time I watched it. I was like, don't let this guy anywhere near you. He is an absolute freak. The kills, even though they're not over the top and overly gory, they're very well done and effective. And I just love this movie. The suspense built throughout the movie is really good. Certain elements, you know, like you learn something, and it's like, oh my god, you know. It's just a very effective horror film, and definitely one you should watch this holiday season. Black Christmas. Great horror film. So that is my list. What are some Christmas themed horror films, or just some horror films that you think would make for a great watch this holiday season? Leave it down below in the comments, and I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. And remember,
Santa Claus only brings presents to them that's been good all year.